I got the question how to send music to labels, and I got the same question already this week, how to release at a label. And I want to answer the question how you can release your music to a decent label. So first things first, I always counter the question with why you want to release at a label, because a label does 4 things for you, which in my opinion really matter for you. So the first thing is they do the mastering and the cover art. And they don't do it by themselves. So they hire somebody, and at that point I see you can also just hire somebody for it. So there's platforms like Sound Better. I will put a link in the description box below. Actually, I will put a link to all the platforms I mentioned in this video in the description box below. Besides that platform, you can also look for guys in the scene who do mixing and mastering. So for example, I think there's Mindspin who does it for Asterix, and some cheaper ones if you don't want to spend that much money. And for the cover art, you can also go to platforms like DeviantArt or Fiverr and look for artists, or you can hire one designer which already does Psytron's cover art, and usually you can find them by just looking at releases from other guys, and either they mention the artist who has done the cover art, or you just drop them a message, who did your cover art, and I'm sure that some of them will respond to you and tell you who did their cover art. One girl who does a lot of cover art in the scene, it's DJ Sati from Expo Records. She has done a lot of my cover art, and she did a great job in my opinion. So you may contact her. I think she's always happy to get more work. And besides that, you can also try it for yourself. And there's a lot of services like Midjourney or eDALL-E. And I think if you combine them with Photoshop, so that you combine like several of those generated images and then kind of like take like a reference cover art and put your title and all that in, then you will end up with something really decent as well. So the next thing labels do is distribution for you. So they bring out your music to all the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, or Beatport. And you can do that also very easily nowadays. So there's, for example, DistroKid. I will put also a link down here. There's CD Baby and many other such services which help you to bring your music out. Just as a short disclaimer, there's like different musical rights. So you have mechanical royalties and performance rights, and if you want to dive a little bit deeper into that, I cannot do that in this video, but I can just say you the sales in the Psytrance charts are usually not worth it, and also in the streaming to put too much effort in this because it's more like a certainly not get rich quickly scheme. To sum it up, the most important thing is actually to get it out on the platform so that people can really listen to your music, and it's not so much about the money there because there is not much. So the next thing, and now we come to the 2 more important points what a label can do for you, is the marketing. So a label is a big brand and they usually have a lot of connections. They have networks. So for example, the Dacro label is in the Transcentral network. They are pretty big on YouTube, so they have an alliance with many YouTube channels, and when they put out music, it will be streamed on multiple YouTube channels. They also have like a huge YouTube following themselves, and also a lot of labels have like big SoundCloud following. For example, Digital Ohm has a very huge SoundCloud following, and so you need to look a little bit where you want to get market, and if the label can kind of like do that for you. So for me as a YouTuber, it's good to have a good presence on YouTube, obviously, and that's something which in my opinion is the most and best thing actually a label can do for you. But I just want to give you a little insight on how you can do that yourself, because I also do releases on my own. Usually I do them because labels have like a release schedule and they can just put in a certain amount of music in a time, and I want to release in a quicker schedule. And so I put out some self-releases at the moment, and I do market them, and there's like several ways how you can do that. So first you can build like organic reach by your own social media. So for example, this is my YouTube channel. I have 4,000 guys, and I'm sure that some of you guys also listen to my music if you listen to my tutorials, because if you don't like my music, then I don't see the point why you watch my tutorials, because that's what I'm telling you in the tutorials, how to make this and that of my music, and also will help you to raise better questions if you want to hear stuff. So I hope a lot of guys are listening to this. Then you can go with paid advertisements, and I do that sometimes a little bit, not like crazy amount of euros, but maybe like 20 euros or something to boost something initially and to get it like out, because I don't have the reach like a big label has. So I need to push it a little bit, and there's a whole channel about that, like a whole guy who talks about music marketing with Facebook ads and stuff. So that's something you can do. And I use, for example, also SubmitHub. It's a platform where you can pitch to playlists, so SoundCloud or Spotify playlists or so YouTube channels. You can pitch your music, but it's not very big on Psytrance. So that's something you can do. And another thing you can do, you can send out your music to DJs, which you know are in the scene, or to streamers and stuff. So I think all those people are happy if they get like new releases, and they will maybe give you some listeners. And the last important thing a label can do for you is bookings. And usually they do it for their rooster artists, so for their artists who have like long-term contracts with them, who are established, who also already chart in the Beatport charts or have like a lot of streams, so they know it's basically easier to sell them to parties and festivals. So that's something which can be also very interesting if you build up a long-term connection with a label. But just saying, there's also booking agencies. So if you're just interested in the bookings, you can also go that route and contact booking agencies, because they are specialized in bookings. So you can have like a booking agency for different areas, for different countries. But you usually need to be also very good to get access to them. And if you like this video so far, then please give a thumbs up. That helps me to spread the video and make more videos like this. It's actually a bit the same thing as with the labels. So how to actually get the release at the label? So the first thing is, it's helpful if you have some contacts to them. And the easiest way is you can interact with them on social media. You can comment, you can like their stuff, you can write them messages, ask them questions, but always think interaction is something where you give the other person value. So don't just write stuff, release my music, listen to my track, try to help them in any way. And the next thing how you can get into contact with them is local label nights. So usually labels have some label nights or release parties and other stuff in which they promote their brand or artists. And if they are locally based, then the chances might be good that you actually meet someone of the label, or at least you meet the artist of the label, which can make you contact. So kind of like try to infiltrate into their network. And the third option, which I used, is competitions. And I think it's actually one of the best options if you can get into that, because if you win a competition from a label, then you already have a release at this label. And if you then warm up the connection, so for example, I won the Dark competition from the Spirit Architect sample pack, and that was kind of like my foot in the door. And I was writing with the label boss there. And since we are writing once in a while, so be realistic and authentic. Don't use this kind of like connections only for your advantage. Be real, and you will get like a real connection in the end. But now we come to the actually most important thing, and it's the most important thing in every marketing thing, is what do the labels want? Because if you can give the labels what they want, you will get what you want. So labels are big brands, and they are big brands because they are quality filters, in my opinion. So there's more and more music coming out every day. And how should people listen to all that music? There's actually an instance required which reduces that amount of music and filters out the filet of the music, you know, like the best of the best pieces you can get out there. And that's, in my opinion, the main purpose nowadays of labels, and that's also what you need to give them. So the very first most important thing is you need to give them quality, and quality has like different aspects. So the first thing I would say is your music should be as unique as possible, because if you're just a copy of anybody else, then you usually just like a little bit worse version of it, and you don't really have a unique selling point in your music, something which is out there, which hasn't been out there before. So that's actually something which can really help you to get in. And the next point in quality is your music must be interesting. So you need to have like a good selection of sounds. You have to have a good arrangement, like some driving arrangement. So it needs to really make people move. So it needs to fire some emotions in people and really make them wanna dance. And the third point is in quality is the production quality, is how good is your mix. I think you can still have a very good musical piece with the first 2 points, but the third one is something which kind of like is the ground barrier, I would say. So you need to have like a well mixed track which doesn't have like single sounds completely poking out, so that that destroy the ears of the listener or whatever, or that you have this super nice cool melody but it's just like way too low in volume and doesn't have any highs in it, and you can really ruin a track with that. But all those 3 points you can basically learn by watching YouTube videos, by getting master classes and see how the pros do it. And also we help you in the academy. And that's something I really want to give you. I really want for you that you improve your music, you level up, and we can actually help you with the interesting and the production quality part. So you will have a really good teacher, Lunatica, who plays at the Boom Festival this year, and he can really give you the in and outs of his production. So he will tell you how to do everything. And then you need to put a lot of work in it and you need to practice, and then you need to send us the homework and he can listen to it and really tell you what you still need to improve, what you may have misunderstood and what you want to do differently in the future so that you get to a release ready quality. And from there, it's just practice, practice, and practice. So as said, there's a lot of music out there. It becomes easier and easier every day to produce it. And you really need to have something to stick out. You really need to be better than everybody else if you want to have those releases at decent labels. Maybe you can get a little bit easier into smaller labels, but if you want to get, which is in my opinion the most important thing, then you will want to have like a big label, and they get a lot of submissions, and it's a little bit like an hourglass. So if you have only 10 submissions and you can release 5 times a month because your release schedule is like whatever, like every week or something, then you can release every second track. But if you're a big label like Digital or Modacru or Sacred Technology, then you get maybe like 1,000 submissions. And if you then can release 5, then you really need to sort out. And obviously the cream rises to the top. So you want to be in the top, you want to be the cream, you want to have the best quality to get your release. Now we come to the second point. What a label basically is. It's not only like a brand and a quality filter, it's also a business. So in order to stay into business, they need to make money, because otherwise it's an expensive hobby, and at some point the guy who puts in all the money runs out of money or runs out of interest in doing this. And it's actually a very hard business. As we talked before, there's not a lot of money made from streams and releases. So they invest in you, and the chances are very good, even if you get like number 1 in the release charts, or if you get a very high position in the single charts, or both, that they don't even reimburse the costs. So they have basically 2 points to look at. So the first, as I already mentioned, is the quality, because if you don't have a quality product, you won't sell it. And the second one is then how you already have done your own promotion. Because if you, for example, have like a very big Instagram following because you do some crazy Psytrance memes, or you are the address for the best parties and people just follow you already, then this makes it also easier for them to market you. I don't know if you have ever walked by a new shop in your town and you took you like half a year to walk in the first time into that. And it's a bit like that. So people usually are a little bit shy to try new things because they might be not good. And if they have established things, they already know that it's good. It's like they are a brand and you are a brand. And the more you are a brand, it's easier for their brand to push you. And the more you have from the one, the less you need from the other. Or if you take it the other way around, if you don't have a good promotion, then you need more quality in the end. Because in the end, it's the combination, the product out of both of this, which makes them market your music successfully. And now I want to come to the last and most easy point, how to actually send the music to labels. So first thing, you need to have the right export format. And I have a short on that, and I will link to that as well. It's very easy. You put you export your complete master. Don't put anything in the front. I mean, if you want, you can put something in the end for the mastering engineer. I'm not actually sure if that's required anymore nowadays if we produce in the box. But export the whole track, maybe like a bar extra or whatever, and 24 bits, wave, no desering. That's all. So, and you will send this track to a label in the fashion they want to have it. And you will check this out by scanning their social media, their website. So for example, on the Darko website, there's written you should only submit your tracks per WeTransfer. And if that's what they want, then you should do exactly that. You shouldn't send them a SoundCloud link by email, because then they won't listen to it. They will just listen to the WeTransfer stuff you sent them. So you will upload this to WeTransfer, and then you might get a response, or you might not get a response. And it usually doesn't help to fire emails and say, why didn't I get a response? It just makes you maybe on some like blacklist spam filter of them. But it's like that. You have to send a lot of music out to a lot of labels and to get your foot into the door. And you need a lot of quality. That's the most important point. If you don't have quality, you will lose every time. I think all the other things can be compensated, but the quality is actually the thing. So if you haven't already registered for the Psytrance Academy, this is your chance. We start the 1st of May again with Lunatica. So if you want to really get your music to the next level, if you want to get your music to a new quality, if you want to make your music release ready, then we can help you on the way to do that. But I want to disclaimer you will need to put a lot of work in it. You need to practice, you need to practice, you need to practice, you need to implement the stuff we tell you and really make your music better. And in the end, at some point, inevitably, you will get a release.